Hi guys, so if you're watching this video, that means that you have just completed the theory exam part of the online course with Sampoorna Yoga. And it also means that you are just one step away from becoming a certified yoga teacher. So this last step is to submit a practical assessment class of yourself teaching a vinyasa flow style of class. So I'm just going to give you a little bit of guidance and some frequently asked questions that I find keep coming up all of the time with regards to what is the criteria of the online submission. So first and foremost, it needs to be vinyasa flow. So we're not teaching Ashtanga, we're not teaching the Ashtanga primary series. And ideally we want to move away from those really traditional right side, left side transitions and start finding the creativity that comes with the vinyasa flow style of yoga. The class needs to be 25 to 30 minutes long. So no shorter than 25 minutes, but also no longer than 30. 30 minutes is enough. And it needs to run alongside the arc structure of a vinyasa flow class, meaning that it needs to have a structured, clear beginning, a middle and an end. So Shavasana needs to be a part of the class. Also, the class needs to be wrapped up at the end, however you choose to do so. The arc structure is something that you should have gone through in the online module of the teaching practice part. And alongside this, the principles of sequencing, the dynamic to static movement, the simple to complex, using the props, the modifications, variations, teaching towards your audience, which for your assessment class will be an intermediate style of class. So you presume that the students that are attending the practice have practiced yoga before. And most importantly, the creativity of moving away from the right side into the left side, really simple transitions. Start to break away from all of this, break the rules, and find the creativity on the mat. We invite you to have at least one student. My recommendation would be to invite more into your class. So the more students that you have, the easier and more constructive feedback I will be able to provide. That being said, also think about the space that you are going to use. So a lot of people do film in their bedrooms or in their living room, which is absolutely fine, but take into account exactly how many people can fit into these spaces. If you are filming at home in your bedroom or your living room, just making sure that the space is clear, it's free of any distraction, and that there's nobody else in the background going about their day-to-day life. The instruction of the breath is one of the most important parts of vinyasa flow, and this is absolutely something that goes into the grading criteria. So making sure that through your transitions, the breath initiates the transition and the movement. The directional cues, so making sure that your cues are clear, concise, they're understandable to everyone that is in your class. And if you can see that anyone doesn't understand the verbal cue, allowing your body to demonstrate, using your body to show the physical transition or to show the physical posture. Verbal cues when holding static postures. This can come from cues about your breath, drishti points, bandhas, alignment, anatomy, energetic cues from the theme that you've woven through into your flow. I would say for static holds, at least 3 cues per static hold is good, and that is enough to demonstrate the understanding of the things that you've learned and are going to take away from the course. Your voice is your biggest tool as a teacher, so we need to be able to hear what you are teaching. Under no circumstances can there be a voiceover of the class. It has to be of you physically teaching students in real life. Sequencing part of the criteria, this is really graded on how much you let your creativity flow, how much you move away from the traditional transitions of Ashtanga and really think outside the box, using different types of postures, different planes of movement, and how all of this comes together. For the creative sequencing part of the course, the criteria will be graded on how creative you get on your mat, how much you move away from the very, very structured and Ashtanga transitions, and really let yourself think outside the box, how you use the dynamic to static movement, how you use simple to complex movement, how you use the props. If possible, can you incorporate a prop into the practice? If you decide that you want to sequence in up towards a specific peak posture, then this is going to need a little bit more of an anatomical focus, which was also something that we would be looking at. Are we opening the right places? Are we strengthening the right places in order to get into the best version of the peak posture that you've chosen? And also how you counterbalance the posture, how you switch the energy, switch the nervous system from the energetic build up into the cool down and eventually ready for Shavasana. So the clear beginning, clear middle and clear end is extremely important, and we invite you to add a theme or an intention into the practice. This would be set at the very, very beginning, hopefully woven throughout the flow, and then wrapped up towards the end, either in Shavasana or just after. And however you want to close the class with the sound of Om is entirely up to you. The presence that you bring to the class, how you hold the space, this is one of the reasons why I would invite you to have more than one student, so it's more of an in-person class. You're not just solely looking at one individual, but you're looking at several different postures throughout the class time. The presence of demonstrating, using your body, knowing when your students need a visual of the posture or a visual of the transition, but also allowing yourself to come away from the mat and not being completely stuck in one place. Definitely not demonstrating your entire flow. And lastly is the awareness of the alignment of your students' postures. Are they on the side that you are instructing? Is the posture that you've instructed what you see in your physical students' bodies? Knowing the difference between the postures, for example, Warrior One and a high lunge posture have two very different integrities, and making sure that if you instruct a high lunge, you are demonstrating a high lunge and not a Warrior One, so that the class can follow. Hopefully this gives you a little bit more guidance as to what you need to put together for the online practical assessment. From here, what you need to do is put all of this information together, put it into practice, film the class, make sure that you're happy with what you are going to submit, and when you're ready you can email it to me, which can be found on the online criteria. Other than that, I wish you all the best of luck. I look forward to receiving all of your flows and assessing them, and I promise I will get you as much constructive feedback within a week of the submission of the video.